Welcome Pisces and Pisces cross watchers to your singles love reading for October 2023. So we're going to get where you are, where you've been, where you are, where you're headed, and then the next love interest from this deck for Pisces Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. So where you are, I almost want to say, like, why are we even at the singles reading? We have the Queen of Pentacles with the Two of Cups. Okay, and where was Pisces? And where are they headed? Okay, with the Fool at the bottom of the deck. Pisces, I actually feel like you may be, it feels like you may have felt in the past that you were in a place where nothing was moving, that everything was kind of stagnant. And I feel like at the time it almost felt surreal. It's like one of those moments in a movie where like you're moving at regular speed, but everything else is slow-mo. And I feel like you may have used that time to kind of retreat into yourself. I feel there is this forlorn kind of longing that you're experiencing right now. And I feel like it feels like you are in pursuit of something. Hold on for a sec. That it's almost like some of you may have resigned yourself to feeling like you'll only be able to dream about love. You're not going to be actually having love in your, like a romantic sort of love. So now I want to be clear, that's not what the cards are saying. That's what I'm seeing, the kind of energy that you're in right now. So, that's we're going to pull some clarifiers on this. What brought Pisces? Can we get a clarifier on what brought Pisces? Pisces, we got the Seven of Cups reversed with the King of Swords at the bottom of the deck. I feel like this might sound a bit silly, but I feel like there was somebody here that was really mean to you. I'm just going to grab some hand cream while we're talking here. I feel like there was someone that made you feel, I don't know why this person seems to have this much influence over you, but it feels like they seem to have had this effect on you that made you feel unlovable, and I feel like to a certain extent you may have believed them. And it's almost like it may not be this recent past that did it. It feels like it could be something that's been like woven into your perception of yourself for a long period of time. That's kind of how it feels. And I feel like this resignation of like, you know what, that feeling like you may not find love, if I feel like that is a result of whatever that person did to kind of instill this belief in you that you'll just kind of enjoy like fantasizing or thinking about love rather than actually experiencing it. I don't know what their problem was or what in God's name made them do that to you. But it's actually like, it's heartbreaking for me as a fellow human to see that you're feeling that way. It's almost like you feel that you are experiencing it as much as you are able to or as much as you need to by kind of like enjoying thinking about it and visualizing it rather than experiencing it. Can we get one on this Two of Cups, please? It's kind of like, I don't know why this is, I'm hearing somebody got a drink thrown in their face, or they should. Two of Pentacles reversed again with Temperance. Okay. So, I was kind of feeling that like there is something, it's like there's this other thing that's starting to come around, and I was feeling at first that you may be already experiencing that, or you already kind of know something else is on its way, but I feel with this Two of Pentacles reversed and the Temperance that you don't actually know that. It actually feels like you found a way to, you know, make peace with this belief that you're going to just be, you know, that like the great love that you want is not coming, and you've made peace with it, and you're just going to kind of experience life as it is. And it's almost like, oh, this makes me want to cry. It's almost like there's this energy, you could call it, you know, a higher power, God, angels, whatever you see as your higher power. It's almost like they're shielding you from something here. It's this energy of like, you know what, Pisces it's been too much. It feels like you hit the threshold of like what you were able to process while still holding on to what you wanted. And I feel like it went above that threshold. And I feel like now someone's stepping in and advocating for you and being like, no, we're not going to be doing anything else to Pisces right now. We're going to leave Pisces alone, and everybody's going to get, I don't know who this person is, but we should all have someone like this on our team, because I feel like they're looking at the powers that be and being like, no. It's almost, if ever you've seen those memes where like the universe is kind of getting the next round of life is coming towards you, and your guardian angel is like, no. That's this one here. But it feels like this energy is going to go to the mat for you. And I feel like the reason it's going to be, from what I'm seeing, the reason what they're doing and what they're saying here is carrying weight is because it's almost like if someone was like, oh no, Pisces can do this, they would be like, can you not see what's happening here? And I feel like the person would be like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Like I want to be really clear, okay? It's not a pity. It's not a like, oh, this poor, pitiful Pisces. It doesn't feel like that's the energy that's coming towards you at all. It's almost like you found a way to insulate yourself from being overwhelmed with what life has brought you. And that insulation is what has kind of prompted this other energy to be like, okay, this is enough. So we're going to figure out what this Eight of Wands is. The Eight of Wands usually talks about things coming in very quickly. Sometimes it can mean like, you know, a lot of messages, a lot of text messages. But we're going to dive into that a little bit because it can be, it's almost like there's going to be this flurry of activity going on around you. And I feel like you may not really even see it all happening because you've found a way to insulate yourself. What does Pisces know about what's coming up? God damn. We have the Eight of Swords. So it's almost like when more pain comes, you seem to have this attitude of like, yep, that sounds about right. Mm-hmm. But it's not a like bitter, resentful, that sounds about right. It feels more that it's like a, yep, almost like a disassociative state. Now, listen, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist by any means. It's just to describe the energy, okay? It's almost like there's this emotional, like you're understanding what's going on from a cognitive perspective, but from a emotionally connected perspective, it's like that's been shut off. It's like if there's hot and cold water, and hot water is the ability to feel like the negative side of what, or, you know, maybe not negative, but the tougher side of emotions. the anger, the hurt, the betrayal, that sort of stuff, that faucet's been turned off and it's just cold and it's almost numbing. And so it's almost like you, I don't want to say this out loud. It feels like you've been hurt to the point that it's like when someone has ground down a piece of wood and they've reached to the end and they've gone right through the piece of wood. There's nothing else to grind. It's that kind of, that's kind of what you're expecting, just more of the same BS. And I gotta give it to you here, Pisces, because it's not like you've given up. It's more, this is how you found a way to cope. So what does Pisces think they know, but they're wrong about? The Devil. I'm hearing like you're not cursed. You're not living a cursed life. We have the Empress at the bottom of the deck. I feel like there's this message that it's almost like, yes, you are getting your more than your fair share of BS. I'm not going to sit here and put lipstick on a pig, okay? But I feel like, I mean, the cards have been clear that things have been difficult for you. I'm not so sure things are going to let up entirely. It feels like there are some things that are in motion right now that can't be stopped. But it's like there's this encouragement here that it's almost like that you're not cursed. I'm feeling that it's like there's something that you are holding on to that seems to be bringing you a lot of joy, that it's like you're looking at it and you're half expecting someone to snatch it out of your hands. What is Pisces? What do they not know? Lots of synchronicity today for you guys. We have the Eight of Wands. What's actually really gorgeous about your read here is I feel like I just realized how big my giant hands are in the way. Sorry. I actually feel like, well, this other, presence is trying to get everybody to get lost. It actually feels like something in you changes. I was hearing, not that you're, snapping or something like that, okay? But I feel like something in you, it feels like it feels like where the energy that you're about to get into seems unfathomable to you at this time. It's almost like the energy that you're about to step into, you would never see yourself that way based off of like where you are right now. It feels like the future you would look at that person almost like they're barbaric. So we're going to dive into that and figure out what is going on and how to avoid that. What does Pisces need to know about how that change happens? Holy cow. I almost swore. So I feel like it's almost like, hold on for a sec. Somebody tries to offer you something you already have. Hold on for a minute here. And it's almost this energy of like, so whoever tries to offer you what you already have, and then they act like they're giving you this big gift. And I feel like that's the straw. Now, it doesn't mean that this thing is particularly huge, right? Because the straw isn't actually what breaks the camel's back. It's the whole freaking load that was already on there. The straw was just the catalyst. what's positive about this? Actually, what's some advice? Ten of Wands reversed. So the Ten of Wands usually talks about, and then we do have the Eight of Cups at the bottom of the deck. The Ten of Wands usually talks about, when it's upright, feeling really burdened, feeling like you're, feeling like the burden that you're carrying is the heaviest. And I'm going to be straight with you. The cards have been pretty clear so far that that's where you're at. And the advice is to not do that, which of course is easier said than done. Don't worry, we're going to get into that. But the advice is to I feel like a jerk for saying this, but it's like, do your best to not look at this offer as an attack. It's almost like whoever offers this to you, I feel like they don't know you already have it. You know what I'm saying? It's like this person seems to want to, for example, let's say, for example, you're soaking wet. You just got out of a freezing cold lake. You are so cold, right? And this person is like, oh, here. And they give you one small sheet of a paper towel. And you're looking at them like, it feels like this moment where like, what is that? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, what exactly is Pisces supposed to do with a tiny piece of paper towel when they are sopping wet with freezing cold water? And there is a message here. This person feels like what they are doing is helpful. That doesn't mean that it is, but that's how they're seeing it. And I feel like there's two ways that you can go about this, right? I feel like it feels like there's this kind of war. I'm trying to put myself in that place. It feels like there's this war in your mind when they hand it to you. And I feel like the shock of the audacity that that's what they're handing you, it's like, it's almost like you don't even know what to do with it. I feel like some of you might kind of burst out laughing at the absurdity of it. I feel like others of you, it's like your mind starts racing. With like all of the things that have been going on recently, maybe the things that have been going on for a long time. And I feel like part of some of you may want to kind of kick back into that kind of disassociative state. But it's like there's something about the offer that actually seems kind of pure, like well-intentioned, that actually seems to strike a chord. Oh my God, I'm going to cry. It feels like it's the first time that anyone has been kind to you in a long time. And even though it may not be helpful, it's like they may not have anything else to give you, but they'll give you what they have. And it feels like it kind of can have this, if you allow it, it can have this chain of reaction, like in your headspace. It doesn't feel like it's going to be, I'm not going to sit here and act like, okay, someone's going to hand you this paper towel while you're wet and everything's going to be fine. It feels like if you allow it, if you kind of surrender to that, it seems to, like all of the kind of cogs, C-O-G-S, in the clock, right? When they're all fitting together, it's kind of like that starts that chain reaction that seems to, it's like that's when things start to turn for you. And let's be real clear, life has not been great from what I'm seeing. So when things are turning for you, it's not like, oh, this situation is turning real sour. It's the opposite of that, right? And I'm going to be straight with you. It's not overnight. It feels like when, like down the road, when you look back at this proverbial paper towel, I feel like you're going to look at that as the spark, or the first drop in the bucket of things turning. It's like that starts this chain reaction of events. Can we get one more card? Ten of Cups reversed. With Strength at the bottom of the deck. So the Ten of Cups usually talks about like happy home, happy family, happy life, right? But it's reversed. So I feel like there's this message here that the change in the tide, or whatever you want to call that, it doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that that all of a sudden exactly what you want is going to show up at your door. I'd love to tell you something different. I wish I could. I wish the reading was different for you. I feel like there's this message here that letting go of this belief that you're kind of living a cursed life may be harder than you realize. It's almost like in order to let go of that belief, reading's getting a little deep. I'm sorry if it's upsetting. I feel like in order to let go of that, it's almost like I feel like you may have to accept that there wasn't a purpose behind what happened. That there wasn't like, no, you didn't deserve it. No, it wasn't your fault. And it's almost this energy of like, if you have been like looking for like, okay, there's a reason behind what happened. There has to be a purpose. I feel like there's this message here that, I don't know why I'm so emotional, guys. I'm sorry. I feel like you kind of got caught in the crossfire. You know what I mean? It's like what happened here to you was collateral damage. I feel like I'm going to burst into tears. And I feel like it may not feel entirely safe to come out of this kind of disassociative state right away. I feel like it's going to be a process of like, you know, you kind of poke your head out, you look around, things seem all right, you take a few steps, and it's like, and then you hear a siren or you hear this or that, and I feel like it's almost like you freeze and you look over, and it's like, and the siren passes you, and I feel like you turn around and look back to the safety of home, like, do I really want to be out here? And from what I'm seeing, feels like you're braver than I would be, because I feel like you don't run back. So, I am going to do the new love interest for Pisces Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. This has just been a bit of a read. I don't think I'm going to attach it to this one. I'll just upload it as a separate video. So I'm just going to pull a couple of outcome cards here to wrap up the reading. Just looking at which deck to use. One sec. Okay. To be honest with you, I kind of need a minute to breathe before I go into the next love interest. So can we get final advice or outcome? We have the Four of Swords with the Page of Fire, the Page of Wands, and the Hierophant. I feel like there is this message that you may be getting back to, it's almost like there seems to be this longing that you had when you were young. And I feel like in order for you to reach this kind of disassociative state, that dream died, or you had to almost like allow it to die. It feels like you may have encased it in cement. Of course, figuratively speaking, right? It's like whatever that dream was, it didn't die. It just feels like you kind of walled off part of your heart about it. And I feel like that dream is going to come knocking on your door. And I feel like it's almost like you may resist accepting that it's possible. It's almost like it may feel, God damn. It may feel that it's easier to believe that this disassociative state is where you're supposed to be, because it puts you in this energy of like, well, if there is something really gorgeous happening, it's almost like it may have been easier at the time to believe that whatever was happening to you, that you deserved it. And not because, okay, let me be clear, not because you actually feel that way. It was a coping mechanism, right? It's the same. It's, to kind of put it in perspective, if you've ever heard of trauma bonding. So trauma bonding is when, and it may be related or unrelated, it's just to kind of describe the energy of it, right? So with trauma bonding, between, let's say, a parent and, and a child, if the parent is very unkind to the child will reason with it, well, I must deserve it. This is what love feels like, right? And it's like, it's this disorganized cognitive pattern in order to cope with their reality, because there's no way out usually, right? So they have this trauma bond. It's almost like Stockholm syndrome, if that makes sense, but it's in a family relationship. So it's the same type of, and that child will, as they move forward, if they want to have healthy relationships, they, with a good therapist, with a good support system, all of those things, when they have those things, they're able to see that what happened wasn't their fault. It was happening to them, but it wasn't about them. And I feel like that's kind of what the cards were talking about up here. And it's like, and in that, it feels like this intense feeling of like, this was such a injustice. And I feel like once that kind of comes up and then subsides, not that you're burying it, but you kind of get that out, it feels like that's when the world starts to look really different for you. And it's like you're not looking at it through this, this like netting almost. So I love you, Pisces, very much. I hope that you guys are doing well. If this reading resonated, I'm sorry. I hope that it was helpful. I will link the new love read for you guys for Pisces Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus in the description box below. And we will see you on the next one. Much love. Bye.